and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And if by now that it's March, you've failed a little bit on your New Year's resolutions to eat healthy and lose weight, March is National Nutrition Month, so we're going to give you some tips to get back on that wagon and get healthier. My guests are from the Health Department, Liz Burroughs and Angela Prioleau. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, we all know that we should eat right. Like, that message has gotten across, but it's hard. It's just, you know, it's hard to do. You look at it, it's like this giant, overwhelming challenge. So you guys have some ideas about some small steps that we can take, right?
Small steps, that's one of them. Our theme for National Nutrition Month is, this year, is putting your best fork forward. Now, I probably need to repeat that.
Right, that means I should get out the silver and polish it, so use my best forks now.
Putting your best fork forward. That's what we're going to do this year. So that starts out, one of the main goals is trying to make small changes, just like you just mentioned. So there are several ways to make those small changes. I think one of the biggest things is find out where you are. You know, like say, for instance, if you know that you are drinking a lot of sweet drinks, maybe you could downsize that a bit. If you have strong willpower, then you can just say, okay, I quit altogether. But if you're drinking 3 or 4 sodas a day, maybe take one out this week, and then next week you go down to 2 drinks, and so forth. But small steps seems to go a long way.
I know that's that way for me, because otherwise, if I try something really ambitious, like, I'm going to cut out soda completely, then I cheat and I have one, and then I've blown it. I might as well drink all the sodas I want, right? So how do you encourage people to keep going on this?
Well, if you backslide and have your soda, then just start fresh. You don't have to say the whole day is blown.
Mm-hmm.
Just go back to drinking your water and make healthier choices for the rest of the day.
Well, so you guys as dietitians, to be honest, the world of diet and food out there, there's a lot of different perspectives.
It is.
There's low fat, there's low carb, there's, just all kinds of different theories. Mm-hmm. But there are some commonalities and some actual facts about what is healthier than something else. What are some of those basics?
I think some of the basics is fruits and vegetables and lean meat, a variety of fruits and vegetables. Let me back up. Not just, I run into a lot of people, they only eat like 2 or 3 vegetables, but there's so many out there. Fruits and vegetables.
And is there, now some people say you want the different colors too, and the
Most
darker
definitely.
color, the better. The dark leafy greens, the oranges, the
Right.
yellows, to get all of the different kinds of.
All the different colors and all the different, they have different vitamins, antioxidants, so just go ahead and just dig in and get a variety of them. It makes the plate looks prettier anyway.
It does. It's gorgeous presentation.
Yes.
I grew up, we had raw carrots now and then, but we didn't eat, the sweet potatoes, the butternut squash, the acorn squash, a lot of those things, and they're wonderful.
They are great because there's so many things that you can do with it. And one thing I do encourage people to do is add vegetables to the breakfast. We are so used to not having vegetable for breakfast. And I know it's hard on the weekdays for a lot of people, but for the weekends, you can make those omelets that has the vegetables in it. You can make, what they call it, I think it's a Mexican omelet that you just stir fry, or you can have spinach with your eggs, or bell peppers with the different colors of bell peppers, onions, and eggs. You can still have all your eggs if you want, but have some vegetables with that.
That's a good idea. I try to save leftover vegetables, like if I have zucchini or spinach or something left over in a little container to throw it in an omelet.
Most
or throw it in a
definitely.
quiche.
Very good.
Okay, so vegetables for breakfast. What are some other ways to get vegetables for breakfast? A lot of people, as you say, weekdays, they don't cook eggs.
In the weekdays, I know for me, one of the best ways for me to get vegetable for breakfast is to make a vegetable smoothie.
Ah.
Yes, I hear a lot of people say, okay, I have a smoothie 2 or 3 times a day, but most of the time it's a lot of fruits, a lot of carbs. So put the vegetables in there, maybe one fruit.
Right, especially berries, because I find they
Yes.
don't have a ton of sugar and they're very flavorful
Most definitely.
for a small amount. And I don't taste that kale and that spinach in my smoothie. It really, as long as there's some other things in there, you're sneaking it in.
Right. It's a good way to get it in. It's a quick way, and you don't really realize it because you're just kind of sipping on it. Any other ideas?
Those are great tips. Okay. What about lunch? A lot of people pack their lunch. Kids at school get a pretty healthy meal. They don't always eat it all, but they have options. But those of us who work, it's harder. Do you all recommend packing your lunch? I mean, what do you look for when you go out? What kinds of foods can you order when you go out that are healthier than others?
Well, we try to recommend packing a lunch. You can bring leftovers from the night before, a lot of fresh fruits and veggies, maybe hummus with some pita bread, something like that. Put some veggies in that and have your fruit along with that too. So just a good variety.
That's good. And salads are wonderful, but you have to be careful about what you
Most
put.
definitely.
What is a better salad than some of the other options?
Better salad as in?
What are the best, like if you're at a salad bar, if you're ordering a salad at a restaurant, what should you maybe think to make sure you put on there, and maybe what should you use sparingly?
Again, you want to go variety, but the things that you want to not put a lot of is the things that are high fat.
Right.
So
So
you go
your
to the salad bar,
dressings.
they have a wide range of selection there. So you got to be careful and watch your dressing. And of course, your creamier ones are usually, unless they're low fat or non-fat, the creamier ones are usually pretty high in fat. So
Even
the
the
vinaigrette,
non-fat ones, they put sugar in
Of
when they
course.
take out the fat. So
Usually that's
it's
what
not
they
always
do.
a great choice either.
but you got to weigh out
less
which
of
one.
it, use the vinegar and the
And I
oil.
always remind people, it's called a tossed salad. So you don't need a lot of dressing. You put a little bit of dressing and you toss it, or you mix it in. Don't drown it out.
Don't drown it out.
I
Okay.
always ask for it on the side.
Very good.
That's good too. Yeah, and then you can be careful and use your own portion control. Dinners, okay? We get home, we're at the end of the workday, we're tired.
Right.
I know what I should do. What should I do? I know what I should do, but tell me anyway.
What should you do? You should still cook that meal versus ordering out or going
You don't
out
go
to
home
eat.
and look at the thing and go, I'm going to call, instead.
Yeah,
No.
I usually try to think during the day, what am I going to prepare for dinner? And try to stick with that. And, some people will really organize and they will plan out their meal for the week. I mean, if that works for you, that's great. But usually, a lot of time, if I'm cooking dinner tonight, I'm already thinking what I'm going to cook for tomorrow. That way you have a plan. And definitely try to get those vegetables in there. I mean, your goal is to make half your plate fruits and vegetables, and then you want a small amount on there. That's your grains, and then your lean meat, of course. But for the most part, a good variety there. And most of the time, if you can get your meals where you can prepare it within 30 minutes or less, that would be great.
I think stir fries are really good because you
Very
can
good.
put in all different vegetables, just what you have on hand. Add that, and then have some brown rice. And I'm a vegetarian, so lots of beans. And also, I think it's really good is the rice bowls. Have your brown rice, and then whatever veggies you have on hand, and different kinds of beans, peas or lentils, and just make your own rice bowl. That's real quick and easy.
That's a good idea. I would also say be careful of packaged sauces, because sometimes when I do a stir fry, I'll buy a sauce, and they a lot of times have a lot of sodium and sugar in
Most
there.
definitely. And it's so easy to use herbs and spices. So fill your cabinet with those versus over the salts and those different things, the high salt condiments, those type things. So use your fresh herb or your dried ones.
Yeah, they have a lot of nice non-sodium blends of different herbs and spices that you can just shake right on your foods. No sodium. So that's very flavorful too.
Right.
Well, so what are some tips for people maybe with kids who might be extremely picky eaters? Like, what are some kid-friendly ways to get vegetables and fruits in there?
Fruits is usually not a big issue for most kids. Only if, there's a couple of them out there. But vegetables is what we run into a lot. The vegetables, what I usually recommend is to still put it on their plate, even if you know they don't like it, put a small amount. That way they can see it in its original form. The other ways, you can put it in soups. Kids love pizza. So easy way to make pizza is bagels. You can get the flat bagel, and you can get some fresh tomatoes, and you can put out like 3 or 4 different types of vegetables, and you can have them help make their own. And a lot of time when you
Kids do like
incorporate the kids, they really like, oh, I made this, so they want to eat it. So I know before when I used to do in-home childcare, I used to do this. And I would put out like 4 different vegetables or so, and I said, okay, you have to choose at least 2 of these vegetables, And then, of course, you're going to have your cheese and your other things.
A couple things there. You let them do it, so they're
Right.
invested in the process, and you let them have a choice.
Most definitely.
You have to pick
Right.
2,
You have to
but
pick
it's your
2.
choice which 2.
Right.
Those are 2 really big tips, I think, for
Right.
working with kids.
And then with the soups, and then another thing that works well is spaghetti and lasagna. You can always put vegetables in there.
You can. You can.
Yeah.
It's easy to do squash or eggplant. You can, and even if you can see it, like what you can with spinach, it blends in.
Right.
Are there any other tips that you guys have before we close?
Well, we know we have to exercise, that physical
Oh, darn
activity.
it. I thought we could get through without that.
No, you got to do that physical activity. They go hand in hand. So,
They do.
Try to get that in most days of the week for at least 30 minutes for adults and children. They usually need at least 1 full hour.
It's especially good for kids. Well, it's especially good for adults, but
course.
kids have contained themselves for the whole school day, and they need to cut loose.
Right.
And I guess if we think about it, we're the same way. I've been sitting at my desk or occasionally
Right.
running back and forth to meetings, kind of bottled up for 8 to 10 hours or 12, however long my workday is.
Right.
You need to release that.
Most definitely.
And get your exercise. And take little breaks during the day. Use the stairs
Right.
instead of the elevators when you can. Things like that.
And all of that counts. I mean, you don't have to do the full 30 minutes or the full hour and all at once. You can do a 10-minute increment, whatever works for you. Just get moving. That's it.
We've taken to one of the things we do at home is during the commercials while we're watching TV, we get up and do stuff, whether it's
Good.
lunges or stretches or doing a quick little jog in place.
Good
But
job.
it's programmed, and we all do it at once, so there's group pressure
Good idea.
or accountability.
Very
Maybe
good.
that's a better
Yes,
word.
very good.
Okay.
And also drink plenty of water.
Yes, how do we forget that? You've got to put that
most
water in.
people, and especially children, drink a lot of juice. And that's their main beverage, the sweet drinks, and they don't drink enough water. So very important to encourage plenty of water.
So
during the
water,
day.
unsweetened tea, maybe if you aren't a huge fan of water, I drink sparkling water because for some reason to me it tastes better than regular water. But anything you can do, get that liquid, no or low calories, but also not the artificial sweeteners probably.
Right,
You don't,
right.
don't want to
So-
do too much of that either.
Exactly.
Add some fruit slices to the water.
I love that. And cucumber water,
Yeah.
is really, like lemon and lime water I love, orange is good, but cucumber is surprisingly good and
really
refreshing,
cool.
especially in the
Yeah.
summer.
It is that.
Okay, well, thank you, ladies, very much. And we're going to put up on the screen some websites
Right.
where people can go and get more information.
Yes.
Because if you're going one forkful at a time, we don't want to overload people with
Most
information and
definitely
ideas. We just go find more. There's more out there, right?
It sure is.
Right,
Lots of
right.
information.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you for watching. I hope you will heed the reminder to eat healthy foods, definitely more fruits and vegetables, and exercise a half an hour a day. Work your way up to it. Again, one forkful at a time, one step at a time is going to get us all to healthier lives. Thanks for watching.